This is Wild Green Streams. I'm Rhett.
I'm Curtis.
I'm Leroy.
Today on the show, we have horticulture lecturer at Texas Tech, Dr. Vikram Baliga, on to talk about the science behind a meme that has really flowered into popularity lately. Vikram, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me again. I'm excited to talk to you all again.
So before we get started on the science, let's talk about the meme. So purple is the new white, or white is the new purple. We'll figure that out in a bit. Apparently, too much purple makes a white petunia, and people have been memeing their way through making sense of this, or becoming all the more confused and just going with the flow. We've seen old memes resurface in the chaos, and new memes being born from the ashes of dying memes. It's been utter madness, utter purple, and I don't think anything will ever be quite so confusing in terms of color.
Wait, Curtis. Explain to me something here. So these petunias, like they look white, but they're purple? Like they have too much purple? Like they have too much like purple
It's basic
dye?
it's basic color spectrum here. It's like red and yellow makes green, red and blue makes purple, purple and purple makes white. It's like you learn that in kindergarten.
What if only there was an expert here, an expert in botany that could explain this to me in my feeble mind?
So, Vikram, what's actually going on?
So yeah, scientists in the 1980s, I don't know if it's Jorgensen or Jorgensen. I'm gonna go with Jorgensen because I don't know. Thought so. So actually, how it started, which is interesting, is there were some venture capitalists that we were like, we want to invest in a more purple petunia, and so they found the gene that controlled purple, and they were like, well, maybe if we make it do it more. If we like double up on this, it'll be like the deepest, like most purple petunia to ever have existed. And they went in and they inserted this gene and using RNA, and they ended up with white petunias. And obviously, this was confusing. And what it seems like is happening is they're calling it, or he called it co-suppression. And where these genes essentially counteracted each other. And there's been a lot of work since then. And, they've called it everything from gene silencing to, some people still use co-suppression. But it's essentially what they found in the long run is it wasn't the gene itself, but a byproduct of this double-stranded RNA that would kind of form in the test tubes as they were trying to isolate the genes or the RNA for insertion, that would go in and start cutting up the mRNA. So when it went in to like cause or make the proteins to make this gene express, it wouldn't do it because that mRNA got diced up. Essentially, they call it a dicer gene or a dicer mRNA. And so they from there actually found some really cool stuff. They started putting it into different organisms to see if this worked. They used everyone's favorite worm, C. elegans. Wormgate is not a new thing. Wormgate's been going on since they started, trying to turn them purple or whatever.
Vikram, I apologize for interrupting, but does anyone know what the C actually stands for? I don't think anyone has ever pronounced the full genus name for C. elegans.
No, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm not even going to try. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It stands for C.
Whoa, that is weird. I've never even considered that it had a name beyond C. It's like Canorhabdidus. It looks like a rash.
It's Cinerapidus.
Oh, so you actually do know. That's impressive.
Okay. Well, set up a game that only you could win, Leroy.
We should go see if we can get Worm Twitter angry again.
Just pull that out of your pocket. Okay, so anyway, C. elegans.
And they found that, well, so they started working with this nematode worm and actually found that the same kinds of things were happening. They could suppress gene expression through double-stranded RNA, and then they moved up to fruit flies, and it's led to some really cool stuff and research into cancer therapies and HIV and AIDS therapies and all kinds of stuff. And some of these articles that I've pulled up were from early 2000s. One of the newer ones was at least 10 years old, but some of the work in mRNA is probably pretty relevant today with the vaccines we're looking at. They've done work in everything from AIDS to polio, based on trying to turn petunias more purple.
So is co-suppression supposed to be an antiviral adaptation?
That, from what I've read, is part of the thought. They did some work in Europe in looking at plant defenses to viruses and found some of these double-stranded RNAs, kind of free-floating in some of the cells to, disrupt the replication of especially RNA viruses. And it's really fascinating. And there's a lot we can learn from plants. Maybe not how to be purple, or maybe not how to be more purple. But in terms of defense, from everything from, bristlecone pines producing chemicals to, exclude and kill pine beetles, to some of these other plants being able to protect themselves against viruses. It's really cool stuff.
And protect themselves against purple.
The most dangerous thing is more purple.
We're not Prince in the 80s, man. We can't we don't have it. We can't deal with all this purple. That's why we invented RNA interference.
You bring up an interesting point, that this was funded by venture capitalists in the 80s, and you are never going to convince me now that venture capitalist is not Prince.
He flew too close to the sun and wanted to make a purpler purple, and I think he had already had the purplest purple, and just wanted it so badly that nature was just like, no, we're not even gonna do a color right now. We're just gonna be blank.
He would be far too powerful.
He wasn't even trying to make money off it. He just wanted really purple flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our Patreon patrons suggested that maybe it's purple on a visual spectrum we can't perceive that mantis shrimp can, which maybe to a mantis shrimp it appears purple, or even dare I say ultraviolet.
By the way, that's not true.
Yeah, right.
I know it's not true. I just thought it was.
They just use more things to see.
It's a wild conspiracy born from wild green memes.
I love how we're just like we're utterly ridiculous meme page who posts things like, I don't know, most coyotes don't have driver's licenses, and then we have to clarify when something that might actually be perceived as science is like confusing.
That's true though. Most of them don't. Have you seen a coyote driving?
The word
that isn't one that we have to clarify. It's both very silly and also uncontestably true.
Yes.
Most of them don't.
But someone might argue that implies that some do.
It's not mutually exclusive.
I'm not gonna make any promises either way there. So that's the story with purple petunias. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add to the saga?
What's a petunia?
Or the white petunias, rather.
I mean, like what's a petunia? Like it's a flower. I know that.
Yeah.
What kind of flower?
What kind? I don't know how do I answer that question. It's a white one, or purple one, but apparently not more purple. It's just an ornamental flower, trumpet shaped, kind of inflorescence. It grows sometimes, and then if it gets too hot, it just is just like, nah, I'm not going to be purple, and I'm not going to take the heat. I'm just going to be done.
I'm looking up the wild variety of petunia, since this is wild green memes, and we've been shit posting about an ornamental plant, which is like we're sort of breaking our own rules here, but whatever. And it seems like the wild norm is purple. So like this kind of light lavender, not to be confused with lavender.
I'm seeing this black petunia.
Yeah, so our school colors are red and black, and so people always try to grow like black petunias here with the red ones, and it never goes well. We end up with like red petunias and then dead ones, and apparently they don't like the heat here.
Yeah.
Retract my statement because, as we all know, common names are useless, and wild petunia. I will stand by. Common names are useless. So I was getting into an argument with children over whether or not their friend had found fire ants, and I'm like, I'm sure there's like 70 different unrelated ants, all called fire ants, but wild petunia is not in the petunia genus. So
Yeah, I'm talking about genus Petunia.
yeah, wild names are useless. I stand by it. Always will.
Do y'all have a favorite Petunia meme? Was there one that jumped out at you?
Oh, for me, it's just
Yes.
literally the first one. Curtis will have a better one in a second, but the first one, because I'm the one that approved that, and I almost didn't approve it because I thought like, oh, the formatting's kind of off. It's almost not really a meme. It's just a story. And then I approved it, and I didn't go on the page for like a day, and then I came back on. And literally every post was about petunias. And I was like, oh, what did I create just now? Like, what just happened?
And what was the meme?
It was just literally the original meme for it. It was telling the story that Vikram outlined of petunias and how they tried to make them purpler and wound up with white petunias.
Like an old Tumblr post or something.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
exactly what
somebody-
it was.
And somebody added the surreal Eric Andre skit of what if it were purple, and him being utterly confused when the more purple
What?
became white. I'm trying to find my favorite one because I know I shared it with the chat at one point, and it has disappeared.
I like this one. It's
Oh, I found it.
Shut up, Laura.
Go on.
What's the one with Tim Gunn? Project Runway?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Project Runway, and I freaking love this scene because it's hysterical. Originally, it's two fashion designers, and one of them says it's like a blood orange, talking about the color of a fabric or a dress or something. And then they cut to the talking head of interviewing one of the competitors, and the competitor's like, blood orange. She's so pretentious. Just shut up. It's fucking red. Blood orange. And the meme instead is it's the purple petunia being more purple. She's so pretentious. Shut up. It's fucking white.
Oh, that's one I didn't understand the reference in before, so I like that a lot more now. Leroy, what's your favorite?
It was this one I just found. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one I like a lot. It's like there's this band called Deep Purple from like the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically like their album cover of an album with shades of deep purple. And it's all the band members, but they're all white petunias.
That's a good one. I think mine, and I like it because this is such a niche joke anyway, and I like this one that's even more niche. It's just a drawing of a pot full of white petunias just falling through the sky, and it just says, "Oh no, not again." From like Hitchhiker's Guide, and it's so simple, and there's so many layers to it that I love it so much.
The best memes are just a reference to something that you like a lot and haven't thought about once in like 10 years.
And like, we're nerds by nature here, like, which would be an awesome name for like a podcast or
Oh,
something.
that should have been our tagline. Why are Green Streams
It is
nerds
now.
by nature?
It is now.
We're gonna change it.
It is now.
Written by nature.
So yeah, anytime there's like Hitchhiker's Guide, like Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings in particular, because there's a lot of nature themes in those stories and movies. It's just like everyone loves it. It's just like because if you're nerdy about a real life thing, chances are you're going to be just as nerdy about a favorite fictional thing.
Well, Vikram, thanks for petuniaing yourself out there to answer our questions today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun.
Everyone should go listen to Vikram's podcast, Planthropology ASAP. You're missing out if you don't. Until next time, I'm Rhett,
I'm Curtis.
I'm Leroy.
I'm Vikram.
and happy Year of the Salamander.
If you want us to say your name on the podcast and get some cool stuff in the mail, subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/wildgreenmemes. And thank you to several of our Patreon today: Sarah Feaster, Kala Jocko, Brittany Fortune, Benjamin Cable, Amy Griffin, and Jesselyn Kreutzer.